Welcome to this video about how to use the Aeropoints and DroneDeploy to create contours of a property or construction site. In this video, I'm going to lay down 5 ground control points made by Propeller Aero. They're called Aeropoints, and they give me precision. Then I'm going to gather the data, and I'm going to process all the data using DroneDeploy. Let's get started. So we're here and we're going to do an orthomosaic of this property. And I'm going to use ground control points to get precision. And I'm going to use the Aeropoints. So first things first, don't forget your PPE. So I'm wearing my vest. I'm also wearing boots. And I will be wearing my hard hat. So just make sure that you are wearing PPE, and this is obviously not a construction site. So technically speaking, I don't need to wear PPE, but quite frankly, might as well do it. It's force of habit. So I'm going to take my sunglasses off and put this on. And then I will be wearing my full PPE. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to lay down the ground control points. Before I turn them on, I need to put them where they need to go. And so Propeller Aero recommends putting them in the corners and then in the middle. So they also recommend that you have clearance of 15 degrees. And that's not quite going to be possible here, but you know, we'll do our best with this, all right? So I have my Aeropoints here. I'll take one of them out just to show it to you. And then we'll proceed to go get it. So this is it. There you go. And let's go put it on. And I'm going to put this one here. Just going to lay it down. And there you have it. And I'm now just going to turn it on. And you see the single light on. There you go. And let's see if it'll connect to my app. And I'm just going to go to the Propeller app. So Aeropoints, you see it there. And it should be looking for there you go. And it's searching for satellites. There you go. 48 seconds. So it needs 10 minutes to capture. And let's see. Time left. There you go. Let's look at the details. And let's see. So, okay, it's poor signal. Let's see if that improves a little bit. Alrighty, so I'm going to let this one be, and I'm going to come back and check it out. Now we're going to go and lay down the second Aeropoint, and I'm going to lay it down around here, which is kind of sort of the corner. So around here, that's good. And you can see it down here. And now I'm just going to turn it on by pressing the button once. And just like with the other one, we're going to check the signal. This one is an unobstructed view of the sky. So this one should be much better. And it is looking for the Aeropoint. There it is. It found it. It's searching for satellites. And it's good signal. You can see this one says good. So that's very good. It's finding the satellites. Okay, we're good with this one. So this one here is the first one that we laid down. And you can see that the signal is still poor. Oh, but now it just switched to good. So that's very good. So we have 2 down. Let's go get the third one. So let's lay down the third one, and this is one of the other corners. There we go. And we're just going to turn it on. 1 click. And there it is. And now let's connect to the app. And it found it. So let's see. It's searching for satellites. Hasn't found any yet. There you go. And now it's loading the signal. And it is good. So you can see it right there. It says good. So the third point is good. 3 of my points are good. We're just going to lay down 5 here. All right, so let's go to the next corner. So we're just going to lay this one here. It's kind of close to the corner. It's not really in the corner. The corner would be over there, but I'm afraid those trees are going to interfere. So I'm going to lay it down here. So there it is. And now I'm just going to turn it on. So single press of the button. There you go. And now let's see if we can connect to it with a phone app. So you can see that it found it. This is the 4th one. I'm just going to click on it. Searching for satellites. Let's go to the details and let's check the signal quality, just like with the other ones. So this is my 4th point. And let's see what the signal is. And it is good. So far we have 4 down. Now I just have 1 left to do, and I'm going to put it in the middle of the yard, which is behind that fence. Just going to raise the camera a little bit so you guys can see it. And I'm going to lay it down there. Alrighty, let's get to it. And this is the last point. I think somewhere around here is good. So there it is. I'm just going to turn it on, and 1 click should do it. And there it is. And now let's check the app. So the app found the Aeropoint. It connects via Bluetooth. We're waiting for it to find the satellites. Let's check the signal quality. And here we see that it is good. All right, so all my 5 points are good, and we're ready to fly. I'm going to be flying a Phantom 4 Pro today. And the reason for that is because it's ideal for mapping. It has the mechanical shutter, so we're going to take full advantage of that. About the only thing that is concerning me, and I'm going to show it to you now, is the height of these trees. See these trees here? I'm not quite sure how high they are. So before I actually create the map, and I'm going to show you how to do that, I'm going to determine the height of those trees, and then I'm going to fly 25 or 50 feet above that. All right, so let me prep my drone and we'll get us started here. So let's fly. Alrighty. So that tree, for example, do you see how it is under the horizon now? That means I'm above it right now. So let's just go a little bit higher and let's turn around. And let's look at those trees. And they all seem to be under the horizon, and I am at 114 feet. So I think I'm going to fly at 200 feet, and that should clear everything up. So let's go ahead and land. And I'll land right here. All right, so I have determined that I'm going to fly at 200 feet. So it is time to create our map. And I'm going to go directly into DroneDeploy, and I'm going to program the map. Because we fly with DroneDeploy. It's a wonderful app, not just for processing the information, but for preparing your flight plan. Here at the bottom, I'm going to click on this plus sign, and I'm going to create a new project. And I'm going to create the project here because of GPS. It actually knows where I am. So I'm going to create it right here. I'm going to name it Residential Contours. But of course, this works with anything. And of course, I do want it to be NAD 83 2011 Maryland, because that's where I am. So I'll click on Continue. And this is going to be a standard to create a map and model. And the first thing that I'm going to do is, you see how it gives me already the 200 feet for altitude? We have already determined that that's going to be it. It doesn't have to be enhanced 3D for this, but I'm going to leave it on. Now I'm going to go to advanced, and I don't have to use the automatic settings, but just so that you know, they're pretty good. So let's go ahead and see what those settings are. So see, the front overlap is going to be 75. The side overlap is going to be 70, flight direction, the mapping speed, all of those things are really, really good. And perimeter 3D is also fine. We don't have to do crosshatch. Look at the difference. See how it flies it twice? It creates this like grid pattern. We don't need to do that, but if we want it, that's how we would do it. So all of this is fine. I'm going to leave it as they are, these settings. Now all I need to do is actually arrange this a little bit better. So we want for one side to be here. So this is actually smaller than the map is, than the plan predetermined. It's actually much smaller. So we're going to do this. Let me zoom in. This is good. This is good. Okay, maybe a little bit further this way. And I think that's fine. And I'm going to go a little bit closer to the street here. And that should actually cover everything, maybe a tiny little bit more. And that's pretty good. Let me straighten this line a tiny little bit. So yeah, I think this is perfect for what I need. So let's go ahead and prep the drone and fly this. You can see that the drone is connected, so we can actually start the pre-flight checklist. It's checking everything here. And the flight plan is checked, everything is checked. And now this is an automated flight. So I'm going to start the flight by clicking here, and it should just start automatically. I'll make sure that it goes up to 200 feet. And it's doing what it has to do. And everything from here on should happen automatically. It goes to its first point, and it started taking pictures. And it's doing a pretty good job, and it should be done in no time. You can see that the flight time is only like 3.5 minutes. This is a small place. It's just doing its thing, all automated, and it's almost done. It's doing the perimeter now, and once it's done, it'll land, and that's it. So it should land pretty close to where it took off from, and it's actually doing that. Maybe better. This is a tiny little bit better, and it's landing, and you can see it. And it's landed. And, you know, it's about, I don't know, 10 feet from where it took off. So it's not too bad. And now we are going to check that everything did it correctly. There it is. And I could upload this now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to upload it later. So we are done here. I'm just going to shut this off. And we are going to pick up the points in the reverse order in which we laid them down. Of course, before picking it up, I'm going to make sure that it was there for the appropriate amount of time. And now we're ready to pick up the Aeropoints. So now we're going to go to the very last one that we put out. And that's the one in the middle of the yard. And let's go to the app. So this has been capturing data for 23 minutes, which is, wow, it's so much more than the 10 minutes that it needs. So we're good. all I have to do now is press this button again, and it should start looking for the network. And just so that you know, I changed the name of my network to be Propeller, the password Propeller. So you can do that in here in the settings. Let me just show you really quickly. See the personal hotspot? See, choose Propeller, and the password is Propeller, and it should find it. So it's searching. You can see the light is blinking. It should be connected. Now it's uploading. You can see it's uploading, and that's really cool. You can see it right here. And once it's done, it's going to shut itself off. You see the solar panels here? This is amazing because it's actually capturing data and charging at the same time. So again, we're picking them up in the reverse order in which we laid them down. So there it is, has been capturing data for 30 minutes. So that's not bad. Let's go ahead and shut it off. Just like the other one, it's going to start looking for the network. Once it finds the network, it's going to start loading and uploading the data into our account on Propeller Aero. These Aeropoints are just amazing. Let's go to the next one. Let's press the button once. And this has been capturing for 42 minutes. Press the button once. It's looking for the network. It's doing what it needs to do. It's uploading. You can see it right there. Almost done. And it is done. I'll pick up the Aeropoint, and we're ready to pick up the last one. And this is the one that we started with poor quality in the GPS. So that got fixed. Let's just press this once. Let's search. It should find it. And there you go. And this shot itself automatically. I'm going to pick it up. And now we're ready to put these away and go process the data. Let's go ahead and do that. So in here, you can see that it's giving me the information on the Aeropoints, right? I'm going to say show me all 5, and these are all good. The only one that is iffy is this first one. See how it's in yellow? But it's okay. We're going to process all of them. So in here, you can see the 5 points. I'm just going to click on process now. And I'm going to do it with the Propeller correction network because I don't have any other, I don't have any survey benchmark or anything like that. And I wasn't using any kind of PPK or RTK drone. So I'm just going to use the Propeller correction network. That's part of it. And I'll click on process. And it's actually right now just waiting for the correction data, and it's going to be doing it fairly quickly. Okay, now this has finished processing. All I have to do is click on download. I am going to download it as a CSV or comma separated value document because that's how I'm going to input it into DroneDeploy. So I'm just going to click here on CSV, and I will now save it. So now we're in DroneDeploy, and we're going to upload these files to the same project that we had created before, and that's the Residential Contours project. In here, we can either use the Smart Uploader or the Legacy Uploader. Let's go ahead and use the Smart one. So I'm going to go ahead and click here, and you can report a problem if you want, all of that. You can even drag and drop the files. So it supports all of this. I'm going to choose them because I uploaded them before, and here they are. So I choose the pictures and then click open. And from here, I can simply click here and it shows you the location of the pictures. So based on GPS metadata, where the drone was when it took the pictures. And of course, we had GCPs or ground control points. So I'm going to click here to add these GCPs. And in here, we need to use the template of the files that we're going to be using. So the output is already here, which is the Northern Eastern template. And you can just go ahead and download it. And if you download it, just save it. So here it is. So notice that there is a GCP labeled, and then there are columns for Northern, for Easting, and then the elevation. I only have 5 ground control points, so I'm going to delete these extra ones. So select and delete, and there you go. Now I can take the output that I downloaded from Propeller, and I can simply copy and paste the information in here. And this is what I have. So I'm going to select Easting, I'm going to copy it, and then Control C, and now I'm going to paste it onto Easting. Done, right? Easy. So now I'm going to go back to the Propeller information, and I'll select Northern. There you go, copy, Control C, and now I'm going to paste it into the other document, and that's Control V. If you're using a Mac, is Command V. And now finally elevation. So here we have it as orthometric height. Copy that. Now I'm going to go back here and paste it onto the elevation of the template. And now I can save it with whatever name I want. I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I have already done it, so I'm just going to save it on top of it. And I saved it as GCP Residential Contours, and here it is. Click on Save. It's going to ask me if I want to replace the file, and yes, I want to replace it. This is a simple copy and paste, folks, so very, very easy. So now, back in DroneDeploy, I'm going to choose this file. I could just drop it, but I'm just going to go ahead and select it. There you go. It is NAD83, and here is the map, and it's putting the point exactly where I actually placed them in real life. So everything is good. I'm just going to go ahead and start the upload. And as soon as it's done uploading, it's going to process the map. And then it's going to ask me to process, in other words, tag the GCPs correctly. So now we wait. Okay, now we see that DroneDeploy is done processing the orthomosaic. So we need to tag the GCPs for this processing to finish. Let's go ahead and do that. So we click here, and now we're going to go into every single one of our GCPs, and we're going to tag them correctly. So let's go ahead and click on Edit here, and this is our first GCP. I'm just going to go ahead and zoom in and target right here in the middle. So just here, basically, we're just telling DroneDeploy, hey, you think it's here, but in reality is here. It's very clear in some of the pictures and less clear in others. But basically, we can just zoom in using the mouse scroll wheel and then click and drag to move the center. In other words, we're just looking for that crosshair checkerboard pattern, and we just click where the middle is, and then DroneDeploy just fixes it. So next, images. Here we go. And this is pretty good. Let's go ahead and do that one. Yeah, and this one, and again. I'm simply zooming in, and DroneDeploy has really done a wonderful job putting these very, very clearly for us to do. So I'm going to submit now the GCP, and that's the first point. Now I'm going to go to the second one. And I'm simply just telling DroneDeploy where the center is. And for some of them, this is really, really easy. All right, almost perfect on that one. This is fantastic. Yep, here it is. And then finally this one. Let's go to the next image. And that's pretty good. Now I will submit the GCP. Now let's go to the third one. This is good. This is good. This one is perfect. Maybe adjusted here a tiny little bit, but this is so minimal. What needs to be adjusted is almost nothing. I'm very happy that without any kind of input, this one is perfect. This one nearly perfect. Let's go to the next images. That's good. That's good. This one that's adjusted just a little bit. That one is good. And this is good. Let's go ahead and submit. And that's 3 GCPs. Let's go to number 4. Really, the adjustments are almost nothing. Now let's go to the next images. And here they are. This one just requires a tiny little bit. So that's why you can't really put the GCP under cover of, say, tree canopy or anything like that. It doesn't just affect the GPS signal, but you won't be able to tag it. So that's really not going to work. This is the one that we put in the middle of the yard. And there you go. And again, hardly any changes whatsoever. This one is perfect. These ones are awesome. Yeah. All right, next images. Let's fix that one. This one is almost perfect. And it's just this one. There you go. All right, there you have it. That one is good. That one is good. And we're almost done here. We can see that this process doesn't take too long, and it really does give us good results. Let's go ahead and submit that GCP. So there you go. I have done all 5 of them, and I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go ahead and submit. And yes, it was a good experience. And now take me to my dashboard. So here we go. It's processing. We're already tagged the GCPs. And now we wait for the map to be done. And DroneDeploy is done processing the images and the GCPs. We can see here the overlay. And you can see in here that we can add other overlays here on the left. And we can look at the plant health. We can look at the elevation, and this is actually done with precision because remember, that's why we had the ground control points. That's why we used the Aeropoints. If we want to look at the ground control points themselves, we can actually click here and you can see that is tagging them in the orthomosaic pretty well. We can also see the individual map photos and where they were taken. But if we want to see the contours, and this is a relatively speaking new feature here in DroneDeploy, we need to go to the model. So down here at the bottom, we can click on model. And you can see here on the left that we can look at the contour. So if we click here, you can already see the contour, see of the trees and all of that. And we can go from 5 feet to 1 foot. I like to just, leave it from 5 to 1, which is the default. We can also click here on color, and you can show them in black or in white. I prefer them in white. And again, we can see the elevation in different colors in here. And I find that a little distracting. But to look at this map a little bit better, we can zoom in. So I'm using the mouse scroll wheel. And then if you click and drag, you can actually take a look at the model and you can see the elevation. See, for example, here is 85 feet. If you do a right click and drag, you can see the lines of contour. There. So this is a pretty flat property. You can see the GCP there. And this gives us a really, really good idea of what's going on. So everything is pretty flat in here. I find this to be extremely convenient because you can click on the share button and you can share this with your client. And again, we have the enterprise account with DroneDeploy, and quite honestly, we find it invaluable. There are other elevations that we have done, and you can see them in here, for example, and I'm going to hide the annotations here. You can zoom in. A right click and drag is going to let you move on the map. The mouse scroll wheel lets you zoom in. And then if you left click and drag, you can actually turn the model. And you can see the lines of contours. See how it goes here from 160 to 175? That's the height of that wall there. And you can see the gradient here for this ramp for trucks or whatever want to go into that pit. And you see these towers here and the elevation. All pretty cool. And for active construction sites, this is also invaluable. And it just lets you do things that otherwise would require other applications to do. Now, if you do want to use other applications, you can do that as well. If you just click on export here at the bottom, you can export a GeoTIFF map, which will have information on latitude and longitude. And remember, we're using ground control points. We're using the Aeropoints on this one as well. So they are pretty precise. And in addition of exporting that GeoTIFF map from the digital terrain model, or DTM, you can export, see here, you can export a shape file. You can even export a contour DXF that you can open in AutoCAD. So what I usually do is that I export the orthomosaic. I also export the contour or shape file, and then I can open that into, say, QGIS or any of those other programs in which I can later on just save and print a document that I can just hand my customer. But quite frankly, nowadays, using this, relatively speaking, new feature in DroneDeploy, which are these contours, this is absolutely amazing. It's so easy to use. And quite frankly, if you share this with a customer, they can simply come in here and click and drag and really look at everything they need to look. And remember, this is done not just for contours, but also for volumetrics and cut and fill measurements. So kind of cool. As you see, this was a fairly easy process to do, one that provides information that is much needed by our clients. This is something that we can do rather quickly, and it provides the client with invaluable information. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.